Possession of all but small amounts of cannabis in nearly all of North Carolina is still a crime.
But several bills that are before state lawmakers could change that. Investigative reporter Jennifer Emmert continues her series, Seeing Green. She's breaking down the 5 pieces of cannabis legislation.
She's also questioning lawmakers about why efforts have stalled while polls grow in favor of legalizing at least a medical cannabis program.
The piece is symbolic of the complicated puzzle facing North Carolina lawmakers, sorting out the right fit for regulating cannabis. Pieces that came together 8 years ago to legalize hemp and CBD. It's a fit for Art Myers.
I let my medicine be my food be my medicine.
A philosophy that led him to CBD and cannabis products and recently to HempFest.
CBD oil is what lubricated my joints. I don't feel 76 now. I run, jump, and play.
It's freaking awesome.
Bang!
I love it.
Living healthy.
With Virginia the only surrounding state to legalize cannabis, Art hopes we're next.
But I think it should be legalized because I believe in individual sovereignty.
5 pieces of cannabis legislation are before lawmakers. The Compassionate Care Act, the medical component, didn't get Buncombe County Senator Julie Mayfield's support in 2022.
The same company will have to grow, process, and sell the medical marijuana. So seed to sale is the phrase for that. And my concern about that is that it doesn't allow room for small growers of marijuana.
Tight licensing rules and fees also concern attorney Rod Kite, who helps companies navigate cannabis and hemp regulations.
The current version of the bill only allows for 10 licenses, and of those 10 licenses, only 8 dispensaries, distribution centers. So you think that's 80 for the entire state of North Carolina. If you do the math, that's 1 dispensary for every 130,000 people, more or less. You know, Buncombe County, I think, has 270,000 people. So in all of Buncombe County, just by way of example, we would have 2 dispensaries.
While none of that has changed, the bill in 2023 has Mayfield's support. I asked why.
In order for the bill to pass at all, it has to have this very tight licensing system. And so what I've decided is better for the bill to pass with this system in place that we can then try to revisit in maybe 4 or 5 years.
The measure, now before a House committee, has been stalled for work on the state's budget. Mayfield's also a co-sponsor on Senate Bill 346, adult use or recreational marijuana.
That's a Democratic-led bill, Democratic co-sponsors on that bill, primary sponsors. So that bill is not going to go anywhere. But I think what it does is it sends the message that there are some of us in the state who are ready to move where many other states have gone, which is to full legalization of recreational marijuana.
It also decriminalizes cannabis.
There are thousands and thousands of people who have been convicted, are currently serving time for personal possessions of, personal use marijuana, and very small amounts. And that, I think, for a lot of us just seems like a waste.
Other pieces for consideration: a separate House measure to legalize the sale of cannabis and a licensing program for cannabinoid-related compounds, plus sale and distribution regulations. That's hemp-derived THC, some with the same psychoactive effects as marijuana.
Somebody was caught selling a counterfeit Delta-8 product that had fentanyl in it. Okay, so we need to regulate the industry.
These products with hemp-derived THC are legal, but Apotheca owner Lee Van Tyne says should have age limits along with testing requirements and packaging restrictions.
No cartoon characters. It even says no unicorns. So the whole idea here is these products are not for children, okay? They're for adults. They need to be packaged appropriately, right? We need to have testing to make sure that they're safe, that there's no microbials in them, and there's no residual solvents in them, and we need to make sure that they're compliant.
Of the different bills or pieces, the Compassionate Care Act is furthest along.
I think it's about time.
We've needed this. The polls show that an overwhelming majority of Americans and North Carolinians are in favor of medical marijuana, and so that's positive.
Even if it wins approval by lawmakers, ramping up a medical program takes time.
There's a cannabis commission that's created. There's There are actually two different bodies that are created by the bill. Those have to get created and stood up and functioning.
What do doctors need to know? How do they make a formal recommendation? What do the dispensaries need to have? What kind of cards? How does a patient get a card? What does the card even look like?
The average time frame, 18 months to 2 years before the first legal sale.
Well, this is more of a one-to-one.
That leaves hemp-derived THC products as the legal alternative, as lawmakers pull together the pieces before the session expires.
It just has come to the point to where it's an issue now, or more of an issue now, and I think they have to address it.
Tomorrow is crossover day when measures must win approval in at least one chamber. The legislative session runs through the end of August. I talked about hemp-derived THC Delta products. Some retailers are mixing them into food. What makes them legal and why it has shop owners seeing green. That's tomorrow at 6.
Republicans in Raleigh come together in support of an abortion bill.
The legislation would further restrict the number of weeks a woman can get an abortion.
After the reversal of Roe, determining abortion restrictions was left to the states, as it frankly always should have been. We do not take this responsibility lightly.
At this hour, the State House is in session to debate the bill. If it passes the House and Senate, it would place restrictions on most abortions after 12 weeks.
And as News 13's Charles Perez shows us, it is very quickly moving through the state assembly.
Today, the effort to further restrict abortion in North Carolina took a big step forward, setting up a showdown taking place right now in Raleigh.
This bill is absolutely about one objective, and that is reducing the number of abortions in North Carolina.
A bill reducing the number of weeks a woman in North Carolina can get an abortion from 20 weeks to 12 weeks is up for a vote in the State House.
The bill that has been developed is a common sense, reasonable approach to restricting second and third trimester abortions.
The bill alarming pro-choice advocates who worry the bill could become law.
They will pass it. They have the votes to pass it in both the House and the Senate.
Though the bill allows for exceptions in the case of rape, incest, fetal abnormality, and the life of the mother, it also, according to some national leaders, does something else.
They're trying to take away healthcare decisions from women. It's extremism in all aspects. And we see it, again, not only on the federal level, but we're seeing it on the local level.
The bill, Senate Bill 20, is dubbed the Care for Children, Women, and Families Act.
It's time for North Carolina to take the next step forward in honoring the sanctity of human life.
And if it makes it through the Senate and to the governor's desk, a likely veto may not be enough to stop it.
Any veto will be overridden. That might mean that they've done their counting and they have their votes.
Votes that could limit abortion in North Carolina with implications both inside and outside the state.
An opportunity to put forward pro-life, pro-woman legislation.
People in North Carolina want to have the freedom, and they want women to have the freedom to make these decisions for themselves.
The bill will be debated in the North Carolina Senate tomorrow, and if it passes, it'll go to the governor for his veto or signature.
High school athletes to profit off their accomplishments. This means young athletes will be allowed to make money off their name, image, and likeness through appearances, autographs, and product endorsements, just to name a few. Schools and coaches cannot use the new rules to recruit, and student athletes will have to report their deals to their school. Tonight, News Channel 12's Brett Kennedy is live in Greenville. He has more on the policy and reaction.
It was just a big day. The NCHSAA announced that we're going to have 7 classifications of high school teams instead of 4, and now the NIL is coming to high school sports in North Carolina. They have it in college, and now it's coming to high schoolers. This is a big deal. This includes traditional high schools like public schools, dozens of charter schools, and 4 non-boarding schools. This takes effect July 1st, so it's going to happen very, very soon with these athletes and teams starting to deal with this. Under the new policy, student athletes would be allowed to monetize their NIL through appearances such as athlete-owned brands and autographs and camps and clinics, group licensing and product endorsements, promotional activities, and also on social media. But for the head coaches and the schools, they are not allowed to facilitate NIL deals And they're not allowed to use NIL deals to recruit athletes to programs or encourage enrollment for that matter. So there's going to be some red tape that you're going to have to follow, some rules that you're going to have to follow along with all of these NIL regulations here. I spoke to a couple coaches and one athletic director today and got their opinions on the matter, and I got some differing topics on this situation.
I think it's a progressive step. And I think as coaches, there's some gray area we're all going to have to wade through. And I think it could be a good thing. But as always, as a teacher, I think teachers should maybe get a little bit more money and our coaching stipend should be a little bit higher. But I think it's a great positive step.
I think you're going to see some outside contact with people, and that's not always pretty. Certainly hasn't been allowed before, and we don't know how it's going to be. We don't know what's going to be allowed yet. Because we've all heard about it, and there's a lot of speculation. But once we get final ruling and actually see it in play, we'll be able to make a better, a better judgment on it.
So we'll see what happens in the coming months. But again, NIL deals are now allowed for high school athletes around the area. Students, athletes can now use their name, image, and likeness to profit off of that.